Hey everyone, welcome back to the Kickback. We recorded this episode on January 7th, and this is episode 12 of season 3 entitled Kickback Catch Up because we've been off the air for quite some time due to the holidays, just everyone busy this time of year. And certainly the Premier League has not slowed down in terms of news while we have been off. So we get into the big managerial changes. Apologize because there were some technical issues throughout the episode, so might be a little bit choppier than than our typical standard, but hope to have these episode drops in 2026 much more promptly after we record a pod. And hopefully the technical issues only get better from here on out. So thank you so much for being patient. Again, we have been off for some time, but are very excited to get back into the fold during this wonderful season. Episode 12 of season 3 of the Kickback. Kickback Catch Up is next. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Kickback. In the year 2026, we have been gone for a long time. Patrick Miner, Jake Nakata-Miller, and Chris Wahman. Fellas, so good to see you. So good to hear from you. We are back. We are so back. And, fortunately, while we were away, nothing really happened. Didn't miss much, so not too much to cover.
Catch you next time.
Yeah, we'll see about
that. Thanks for listening.
That's what you think.
This has been a real pleasure, guys.
Oh Lord, we do have a lot to get into, and so much so we're gonna break format a little. Typically, we have a match week recap, but we are just gonna go around in snake fashion. And this episode is gonna be kickback, catch up, because so much has happened that we just need to catch up on everything that's going on. So, whoever wants to kick us off, if both of you are a little shy, I can get us started here. But we have a lot to cover, fellas. So where do we want to begin? And who wants to begin?
Wow, I like that we left.
I want you to kick us off.
We've only
Chris.
been.
Wow.
Yeah, go for it, Chris.
Don't everyone hop on it at once. All right.
We're rusty.
So I got some takes right on the pod this year. Probably the one that I'm most frustrated that I didn't stick to my guns when we were going through prediction week was including West Ham in the relegation battle. They're just so shambolic. I'm pissed at myself. But if I got one take that I think was spot on during our takes draft episode, it was that there would be a mass manager exodus this season. We would see a ton of manager movement. And really, it's a story on everyone's lips. And guys, with podcasts, I can't be listening to it's great to be informed and everything, but I'm listening to these podcasts and I'm like, wow, they're thinking of the same questions I would. But great minds think alike, evidently. So I'll ask you the question, Pat, to start with you that the pod stole from me. I won't name them because we're the real authority here. Between Maresca and Amorim, which one surprised you more in terms of their dismissals?
That's a good question. Okay, so I'm going to answer it in like a part A, part B perspective or fashion. I think my
fucking bad.
there's no part C. I think I think when you look at like the context of like the near term, like immediate context, I was most surprised by Amarin because while we weren't on a winning streak, we weren't like down in the dirt. Like we were having some decent performances. We were on an unbeaten run for a bit. And we were still in a pretty
decent spot in the table.
Oh yeah, we were in a very nice spot on the table. We've had, we didn't capitalize on some of the chances, but we had a couple match weeks where we could have been fourth place with a win.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which we didn't get, which is not great, but that's okay. So I think in that sense, I was surprised by Amarim's, um, particularly when you consider that Maresca. Um, there have been some rumors going around about him having multiple contact meetings with Man City. So you kind of just felt like things were pretty rocky and pretty out in the open about that as well. Uh,
Sure.
I
And
think
it's
if you,
Chelsea.
yeah, well, it's Chelsea. I think if you like zoom out, and kind of like if you like think a little bit more critically about it, I think there's a lot of underwhelming performances from Amarim. You look at his overall win
Mm,
percentages uh, from his 14 months at the helm at Man U, and he was down in like the 30s, mid 30s, I think.
yeah,
Um, and
yeah.
it's like that is a yeah, it's a you're there to win games, you're there to perform, and that's a terrible sign. And when you look at Maresca, I mean, he'd done some pretty great things. Club World Cup, he had a great last season for them. There's still positive signs this season. They were in a much better table position, I'd say, than we were at times. And yeah, like
Yeah.
I I think of that ultimately was probably a bit more surprising. I figured I'd hope they would try to work through things, but yeah, there's so many
Mm.
interesting things about both of these sackings. And I mean, and where do you begin? They're just it's a great way to start New Year. So many tantalizing rumors and things to analyze. And the replacement strategy is just phenomenal to talk through.
Well, Jake, Pat says, where do we begin? Where do you begin, bud? What were your, you can touch on which sacking you were most surprised by, but I'd love to get back to Pat after you. But what are your thoughts just as a Man U fan in terms of the sacking and the direction of the club at this point?
I was pretty shocked by the dismissal, but you could see it coming when you saw the comments that he made post game
Hmm.
after
Post leads, yeah,
yeah,
no doubt.
post leads and just challenging. But even after that, and I still don't think it was like a no-brainer to fire him. I see a lot of pundits like claiming like you can't challenge the people within the organization in that way and expect to keep your job, like he was determined to get fired. I don't think I see it that way. I think he's just a guy who's really
Mm.
friendly with the media. I think he's really direct. And I think he was just genuinely speaking his mind. And I also don't think he was wrong about a lot of the things he said. I mean, they shy away from
Oh.
this club really, I think and this is not shocking. I think a lot of fans would look at it this way as well. They're not run to be successful in the Premier League right now. They're run to turn profit on transfers, it feels like. They they're completely
Mm.
resistant to investing in any type of star or established player, especially in the Premier League who's going to actually cost them a significant amount of money. They'd much prefer like farming from smaller leagues and looking to develop players and turn a profit, which is fine, but
Yep.
it's fine if you're also being successful at it, like Dortmund or some of these other clubs. This is United. You're expected to compete year after year. I mean, not in the last 15 years, but before that, you were expected to compete every year. And so instead of Donnarumma, you go after Lamens, who I don't think has been, necessarily. He's not horrible, and he hasn't been the reason that we're losing,
Right.
but he doesn't stem the time. We haven't
Right.
kept a clean sheet since God knows when. Um, yeah, it's just it's tough, and I think Ruben was well within his right to challenge the leadership within the club. I thought that was completely fine. I certainly had my bones with Amarim. I thought tactically, I disagreed with a lot of his deployments of some of the talent that we have. But at the same time, when he took over this squad, they were, I think, tied for 13th. They might have been in 14th, I think. And despite his terrible record, I mean, you see it all over. People are so eager to post like your win percentage in the Premier League compared to all of our other managers. Well, he inherited a shitty
Hmm.
team that he didn't want to even manage at that point. Reports were that he wanted to see the rest of last year out at Benfica and then move. So not only did you put a gun to this guy's head and force him to manage a bunch of players that he didn't want to manage, this year he gets a fresh start. He gets some players in that he kind of gets to pick. And while the record we're certainly not flying, and there's a lot to be displeased with, we're dealing with a lot of injuries. And we're still sitting 6th in the table, had a chance to move up to 4th, at least
AFCON as well.
temporarily today, and get into a Champions League position. So, right, and it's AFCON, so lots of people on international duty. I think Ahmad and they just got Bruno Fernandes
Key
back.
players.
He had missed
Mbeumo.
Yep.
And I know the draw to Leeds and Wolves, both of those hurt. But again, you're without your best player and you're without a lot of some of your best supporting play. So I just thought the timing was and the optics of it were so weird. Like we're certainly not flying,
agree.
but nobody in the Premier League is flying other than like Arsenal and arguably City, who even City fans would be disappointed
And
depending on what week you
really.
ask them.
I would even say, I would say both those teams aren't
Go
really
ahead, Pat.
flying, to be honest. Arsenal I'd say Arsenal are in a great spot, but like, and they should be happy about it. But their performances aren't flying, in my opinion. But
sure, that's totally
I
fair.
think I don't agree with it. I don't. Yeah, and I don't agree with I agree with you. I don't agree. I don't know if you agree with this. I don't agree with the decision to fire Amram, to be honest. I generally felt positive about where we were at the last month or two. Like, we were putting in some more consistent like performances. Maybe they weren't always wins, but I still felt like we were showing some very positive. It's hard to quantify, but when I watched the games, I felt more positive about how we were playing and what was going on. There's still shaky moments, certainly, but in general, I felt like we were actually starting to have some sort of momentum in a positive direction.
Yeah, I agree. And like,
I agree with that. Go ahead, Jake. You're good, bud.
I was
This
just
is your
gonna
club. I
say,
want to hear from you. I'm chilling.
well, just the end cap to all this. I mean, I guess I'm just summarizing what I said which is just that I don't disagree that you could potentially find somebody better than Amarim. I don't think he was like the best manager for this club. I think you can certainly find a lot, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to see if we actually do perform better without him. But I did not think he deserved to be fired. And I think optically it's just strange. It's a strange look. It feels like management wants an overnight turnaround when you have
100%.
progress being presented in front of you, and yet you still decide to move on. It's just the wrong message. I don't know.
I completely agree. And for me, I think in terms of the Premier League history, in terms of winning streak unbeaten and one of the greatest teams ever was Brian Clough's Nottingham Forest. I bring that up to say they were a European powerhouse. They were all of these things. And in that time, since then, they obviously have, been relegated. They've had to work their way back to Premier League status. And they have nothing near the history of Manchester United. But Jake nailed it, which is between Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the new management. I am so irritated and disappointed at just the kind of craven arrogance of the men in these roles. It just is baffling to me. And the reason is because I know it's just a game. I know it's just a sport. But when I tell you my team having the potential to win the Premier League will be something I remember for the rest of my life, it will be. We are passionate about this. We consume it. We put our time into it. People put their money into it. And I, early on, had qualms with Ruben, particularly because of the formation, but also because of the way he carried himself. It's interesting, Jake, your perspective about, his kind of charm and appeal in the media, which I've heard on every podcast I listen to, that he's this most charming guy and wears his heart on his sleeve. I will say this. I do think the honest to a fault approach has its drawbacks. I do. To where I think you know, apparently sources close to Amarim, very close to him, believed what you guys do, which is he did not set out in that press conference to lose his job. That was not his intent. I think it is a little naive of him in this power structure after seeing what just happened to Enzo at Chelsea to think that after having apparently a lot of this came from, a conflict, a massive blow up between him and Jason Wilcox, sporting director. I think it was naive of him to assume on the heels of that and some poor results that he could go into a press conference and basically just, whether he was right or wrong, call out the upper management, because clearly they are going to do what they have to keep their jobs. And in sports and in business and life, this bothers me so much that the people at the top who have most power, most authority, whatever, are so egotistical. We saw it with Marinakis and Nuno at Nottingham Forest when that blew up. Enzo and Blueco at Chelsea is just a mess. We'll get onto them in a second. So I think Ruben deserved more time because the timing of it is just befuddling to me. Why would you not get rid of him in the fucking summer? The club put out a statement afterwards. We believe this gives us the best chance to finish high in the table.
It makes no sense.
Higher than you already are? Really? Like, is that what the ambition is? Because at the time they fired him, what were you guys, 6th, 5th?
I think 6th, maybe.
6, like a point behind 5th,
I don't know.
I think. Yeah.
And I know that was kind of, a rant, but it just irritates me to no end that something that so many people, not just us, are so passionate about is just in the hands of the whims and wishes of, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who said, well, look at Mikel Arteta. He had a rough start, so I'm going to give I'm going to give Amarim 3 years.
Ruben.
I'm going to give him 3 years. And he got 3 months after Ratcliffe said that in a public interview. So my whole thing is, like, you guys need to communicate and batten down the hatches so there is a clear, like, unified message. Where if you're going to give him more time and say, we're going to give him all this time to figure it out, then do it. Because now what happens is it's a manager carousel, and if you had someone lined up to replace him, like, immediately, I might understand it. If there was a better candidate out there, I might understand that. What now?
Yep.
That was long-winded.
What now is we shell out
think?
£9 million and then hope we can find someone else.
That's the other thing. For a club that has financial trouble, you have to keep buying off and paying new guys. It's fucking nuts.
And that's maybe the most desperate feeling part of this, is that you can tell it was a completely emotional decision by management, that they had been offended
100%.
and that they were willing to just fire this guy without having even an idea of who to replace him. And now sources are saying that Ole's coming back to claim back the throne, at least temporarily. I mean, that's how.
Yeah.
That is literally how just whimsical. Like, they're just doing things based on a whim right now. There's no calculated. There's no long-term strategic plan. Like, small startups have a better idea of what they're going to be doing in a couple months than United does. They've got no fucking idea. And you touched on some good points, that his relationship building, I think, was one of the points where I think we could improve on with the new manager. The way he iced out Rashford and Kobe Mainu. So, yeah, there's definitely room for
early on
improvement.
said it was the worst United team, like, ever.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry to interrupt you, but just early on he was like, "This is the worst team ever." It's like, you can't say that, dude. Even if you believe it, like, you can't say that shit.
What's funny is
But
he's
go
going
ahead,
to
I
be
cut you off.
he's going to be remembered as like one of the worst Premier not Premier League managers, sorry. One of the worst Man United managers of all time, honestly. That's what his record is gonna show moving forward. But those of us that were here to witness it will remember it differently because we know how bad the team he took over was. So it's gonna be an interesting thing the way he's remembered moving forward, especially if he doesn't land on his feet and take another big job. But I fully expect he'll get another opportunity.
Mhm.
Unlike some of these other coaches,
Yeah, me too.
I expect him to land on his feet, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if he lands a decent club and starts doing good things.
Yeah. Pat, why don't you have the last word and then we'll move on. What do you think, Bob?
Well, the only way out is forward. So let's go Ole. I'm excited to
Hell
see him back.
yeah, hell yeah. I am too. I am too. And by the way, not for nothing, I think it is important and touching on that Ratcliffe interview where he said, well, Arteta had all this time and different things. Not only was Arteta, did he kind of start off during COVID, which bought him a lot of time because there were not fans booing every time our team was in, eighth place. But Arteta, again, and, I I must see something different where the media is like, oh, he's this charming, affable guy and this and that. And I'm not saying Arteta is like, the best dude in the world. My point is that I've watched enough speeches and locker room conversations where Arteta to me feels like a unifying force. And at times Amarim, whether it's the burner squad or, icing out Manu or stuff, just felt more like divisive. And early on in Arteta's career, I'll never forget this. They played an awful cup game and lost to Nottingham Forest, which at that time were not in the Premier League. And Arteta came out in the press conference after just to kind of show the difference and was like, no, like the guys gave me all their effort and I couldn't expect anything more. Ripped him a new one in the locker room. So my point is there is a give and take to like how honest and like open you need to be with like, oh yeah, like we were shit. It's like, well, save that until you're talking to just your guys, you know? But I don't know. We'll see. I'm pulling for Ale too. He's a legend, dude. I hope he gets it done. Well, let's move on. Just we don't have to, spend a whole lot of time on it because we have some other topics to hit. But Jake, we'll start with you this time. What were your thoughts in terms of? Let's dive a little deeper into Chelsea. Obviously, have a new manager, Liam Rossigna, coming from Strasbourg, has done a terrific job there. The management team, Blue Co, has kind of a partner relationship, if you will, though that's be very hard to tell the fans of Strasbourg, whose manager just got clipped. Um, what do you think about Maresca's departure, uh, the new manager appointment, and the future for Chelsea in this season?
Well, on the flip side, yeah, I didn't find this one at all shocking. I mean, I guess it was shocking in like it was shocking in the way that like like a thunderstorm is predicted to hit and you feel a loud roar of thunder like right next to your house. You're like shocked by just pure adrenaline factor and like
I love that.
proximity to
That's
the
a great
sound.
analogy.
But like you were aware that this was like one of the more likely scenarios. It's
That's a
just
great analogy.
thanks. I wasn't so sure in the middle of it, but I think we dug it out. No, I mean
I loved it.
I don't feel like Chelsea was necessarily underperforming either, but I guess if you wanted to be critical, they have a
Yeah.
discipline problem. Is extremely clear. I mean, we've done segments on this very podcast, the Red Card Report, where we've thanked Chelsea directly week after week for their contribution. And funny enough, to like how many days has it been? 4 days since they fired their manager. gotten a red card at the beginning of a game
Yeah.
again, and it's cost them again. So I guess from that perspective,
Kick off
if
a
you
new regime.
the right way, look, if your logic is, what are the things that the manager controls is tactics, is play style, and is team discipline. And you're looking at those factors and you're saying, oh, in this one key facet of the manager's duties, we're losing tons of games based on this one factor. I can kind of understand the dismissal from that perspective, that they've just continually shot themselves in the foot, and clearly the talent that they've assembled with Joao Pedro and Cole Palmer and some of these, I mean, Esteval, and we've talked on this very pod, their talent
Yep.
is honestly ranked up there with the league's best. So they really should be
Totally
in the
agree.
top 4, top 3 battling it out. So I can understand
Definitely.
this dismissal a little bit more, just from that perspective, that it felt like they were underperforming just from a discipline perspective. But it'll be interesting to see if it's a player problem or a manager problem. And I guess that's kind of foreshadowing gonna be one of the topics that I was gonna bring up. So whenever I get past the ball, let's just remember that I had said that. But it'll be interesting to see how Chelsea bounce. I wouldn't at all be surprised to see them um, catch a little bit of wind on the back of this. And you do wonder how much the talks of Maresca and City really ended up hurting him in the end. Um, I'm sure the club will mostly deny that it had like a huge weight factor in their decision, but you've got to think it was actually a pretty big component, given the management structure there at Chelsea.
No, I mean, totally, dude. It's again like it was a shock for Amarim, because as much as Man U have replaced managers kind of on a merry-go-round, Chelsea, this is just a Monday. They do this all the time, man.
Don't
Pat,
you
what,
feel
what
like
were your thoughts about it?
I don't like how they replaced him. It feels so corporate. It's such a sterile, like,
Carry on, because I love where you're going with this. You honestly are stepping on a take that I had, so I love it. Go ahead.
yeah,
I
it
love it.
just, I mean, we know what it is. It's just like a American corporation saying, "Oh, let's pluck this, up and coming talent that we had growing over in this field and swap them around like it doesn't matter from
Unreal.
this business unit to this next one." And it's frustrating because it's not what a soccer club is. It's not what you want to see as a
Nope.
fan of the other club. It's like it's just really despicable in my opinion, and extremely frustrating, and just speaks to a lot of ignorance, I'd say. Um, So yeah, not happy with that. I wish him best of luck. My thought is that Chelsea's going to end up pretty much right where they're at the end of the season. Maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower, but they're going to
Mm.
stay upper mid table. They're not going to do anything great, and I think we're just going to be like, well, I wonder why they didn't have a bounce or be better. And the answer is because Maresca was a good coach that they got rid of.
Absolutely, dude. And by the way, like I hope for the best for Liam. He in his opening press conference, he said, you can't pass up an opportunity like this, and to hear everything about his background, he has worked hard to get here. And so I appreciate that. But I am totally with you, Pat, in that I of course, as I said, listened to many pods, and today heard a great kind of like perspective that I want to share with you guys, where Blueco, the owner of Chelsea, are also the owner of the Dodgers, the LA Dodgers. And this pundit said, well, they are treating Chelsea as if they're the Dodgers, and this club Strasbourg in France as if it's just a, double A, triple A farm club that they're just everyone's propping up for Chelsea, which is the ultimate big dog at the end of everything. I'm with you, Pat. That to me, in this particular sport, it's something where like the corporate American business tendrils, have infiltrated the sport that I love. Because it is just bullshit that like Strasbourg, who's as high as they have been in Liga 1 for like 20 years with a brilliant up and coming coach, just like that, Chelsea's top brass can be like, you know what? Not only are we did we recall Andre Santos, from Strasbourg just because, he's talented, so we want him back. We're gonna pip your coach too.
Yeah.
Like it's such a shame because like again, obviously Chelsea fans are not happy with the way everything's gone down. But for Strasbourg fans who have a proud fan base, Strasbourg is,
It's horrendous.
population
Yeah.
of 3, it's a big city in France. That's just a
horrendous.
joke to their fans. It is, man, because again, like I understand at the end of the day, like none of us on this pod, none of the fans who go are playing in the games. It's not our salary. It's not any of that. But it does impact our moods. It impacts our quality of life in terms of everyone looks for things that they are passionate about, for entertainment, for, to improve their everyday. So many of the podcasts I listen to, the pundits talk about how being at a football pitch was part of their kind of maturation and growth as a person, where they learned about unity and togetherness and all these different elements that the beautiful game can provide. So to see it become just kind of a business, endeavor is just heartbreaking to me, honestly. I was really upset with Amorim, but the Chelsea structure is just gross. I don't like it.
100%. Yeah. It really is heartbreaking. It's not what you want. It's like everything you don't want to see out of a group that runs a club. And that's the other thing. It's like the multi-club ownership model is extremely
Well said.
frustrating because that's what this leads to. That's what it all feeds into.
Oh, yeah.
So, not a fan.
Jake, what do you? No, I'm with you, man. Jake, what are your thoughts, man? Because I'm glad Pat brought up the multi-club model, because it's also the analogy again. If we're just likening it to baseball, the Dodgers will never play, the Toledo Mud Hens. There's no chance of that. They won't get promoted. There are no competitions where AA will play, the majors. Strasbourg could play in the Champs League, and like is doing very well in Ligue 1. So like it's not, you're not poaching from this development, crop of players and coaches that are just there to provide upcoming talent to they're in the top
Right.
league in France themselves.
Right. It's incredible that this is happening, and you really I feel for the fans in Strasbourg. I mean, I don't even know how I would
Yeah.
keep faith in a club after a move like that without just abandoning. I mean, this is you touched on this in another segment in relation to another thing, but like, yeah, this is people's whole lives, their fandom, and for you to sell it when the price is high, or it's not even when the price is high, just sell it like it's a promotion from your small time club. I mean, I literally think I would lose fandom immediately, but obviously they can't. Right, FIFA has a rule preventing, or UEFA has a rule preventing them to both make Champs League at the same time, right? So I don't think they would ever play head to head. I think if you have joint ownership, that one of your clubs actually has to take the like Europa League or something. But still, I mean, the point is still totally, and that wasn't even your point. It was just that Strasbourg could also make Champs League at some point, so it's not like it's like a lesser club of any sorts. It's still a very
Right.
valuable
Right.
club.
I mean, they are, but they're they're in the top league.
Right. Yeah, completely. So it's a dirty look, and it really is. It's another like shit smear on what's becoming a long ledger of shit smears of soccer being tainted in the 21st century. I think just money has just corrupted it. And we need to start our own league, the People's League, where this stuff won't happen. The clubs are owned by small businesses in the community. And but yeah, we'll get that kicked off the ground. But truly, it is disgusting, and it's really unfathomable from I mean, the comparison that you made is really the only true one that really is really comparable in the U.S., where we have farm teams. But again, those are small town teams. These aren't like big cities.
Well, right, and the structure and sporting model is, like, understood that the farm teams are there to cultivate talent for the major leagues. It's a step up. Like, again, for example, I wouldn't like it, but if Chelsea had a partnership with, sorry, but like Accrington Town, and they were like, tell you what, we really like a young player, we're gonna pull him up. I mean, it still wouldn't be ideal, but like, I guess like a qualm that I have is like, again, Strasbourg has like a proud history and again is in the top league in France. They're not like some like farm club effectively. So I don't know. It's unfortunate, but you know, it's that's Chelsea and that's the Premier League. It moves at a fast pace. But Pat, what do you think in terms of just kind of the manager's impact versus I guess like the players' impact on results? It's
Um,
interesting.
I feel like it's I I tend to think that um I tend to think that managers I tend to lean on the side of giving managers a lot more time. They're trying to implement a system, series of tactics. Uh, it's a leadership problem you're trying to solve when you change managers. I mean, it's a lot of problems. You're trying to change tactics, formation, and it's a leadership problem because if you're a leader and you come into a new group, you you have to get buy-in, and we're talking about 20 plus people who are all who are a variety of different personalities, many of which are very strong personalities, which you have to convince. Uh, the right way or the way that you want to do something and how it's right. And I mean, it's for me, I guess I err on the side of giving managers a lot more time because of the sheer complexity and the type and number of these issues they're dealing with. They're not, and it's not to say players have an easy job, but like a player, like evaluating a player, it's like you have their performance, and even as an individual, you can still have a good game despite your team losing 5-0. I mean, it's hard, but like you can still have a pretty decent game or still look like you're not um, incompetent. So like, uh, so for me, it's easier to like identify players having issues. Um, and I look at a
Huh.
manager with a little bit longer of a runway. I mean, you can obviously tell when there's very egregious
Okay.
examples of how they're performing and which time it's time to get them out of there. But like Thomas Frank, he built something pretty great. He doesn't just go from
Right.
being like this tactical genius who a lot of managers and peers respected over the last several seasons at Brentford to then just being suddenly incompetent or unable to perform with the team. So like I'm not calling for his head. I I just don't I really it just really doesn't make sense to me how you can fire managers within the span of a few months looking for this immediate turn of
Mm.
results. I just don't understand it when you're trying to, especially if you're getting someone that's like tactically completely different from what you had before, or even personality wise, you know? So it's, yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm with you in that I think for the most part that the managers deserve a longer runway. Jake, to kind of address your point. I don't really think we have put an outsized importance on like the managers and their role in contrast to the players. I think like in terms of to kind of cross sports reference, I think in like the NBA, there's a lot of just kind of like man management almost. It's not so much you're like a coach, it's just a very highly paid, high profile babysitter. Whereas in in the Premier League, I think that like it's so and maybe it's just because there are more players on the pitch. It's a more players to observe. I think you can really tell which teams are locked in strategically and have, been drilled by their managers and which are just kind of, out there without a clue. So I do think managers have really good impact. I don't know what's going on with Frank. You know, Spurs, God love them. When they in the North London derby, they were singing "Champs of Europe," and the Arsenal fans were laughing at them, which like feels appropriate, just because like I know they're a good club and everything, but like again, this is the year of clubs like rushing to be the best and like not building up to get there. And even like with my club, like Arteta has had a long path to get to where we're at now. So we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. Well, let's get into stoppage time. Pat, do you want to kick off?
Ooh, boy, do I.
Pat's
Well,
Been a while.
it's been a long time coming.
Had to
All
dust
right.
off the voice there.
Yeah, well, we obviously have to shout out the game tomorrow, which everyone's going to be very keen
I
on
think
seeing.
he's reconnecting. He just left the
I
call.
was about to say.
His
I think
pick
he was so
is
pissed he just
the
dips
red leave button.
Oh no, did I?
Yeah.
Abort?
Fucking followed his leader, Ruben, just hopped off, dude.
Oh my god.
Well,
No,
Jake, what do you got, man?
no. Wait, I'm back, am I not?
Well, I just want to clarify, I still believe in Thomas Frank as manager, and I think Tottenham can potentially turn it around. But I just find him as an interesting case study in terms of I think manager I don't necessarily think that their effect on a club is outsized necessarily, but manager evaluation does kind of just seem to be vibes and well, obviously club performance, but it's hard to, like I said, kind of divulge how would the effect that the players are having and the manager is having. So, um, I just think we see that all the time with like manage the club structure doesn't know what a good manager is. It doesn't seem like they just go off of vibes like, oh, this guy seems nice and
Totally.
he talks smooth and oh, he did good here.
Totally.
And then you bring him in and
It's such like
Forrest
typecasting, dude. Fucking
like Forrest fired a good manager to
Brought in
bring in
Postecoglou.
Postecoglou, who then lost every match he played. It's
And
just
now they
so
got
it's so
Sean
weird.
Dyche.
Right, and now they ended up with Sean Dyche. And congrats to them.
Yeah.
They pulled off a win.
Yeah.
Got 3 points. Keep them away from West Ham.
Sean Dyche. Oh yeah.
You know what? You know what my stoppage time should be? Shout out to
What?
Wolves, man. Shout out to
Hell
Wolves.
yeah, I
They
love
got
that.
5
Love
points in
that.
their last 3. Do we smell like if they didn't have one of the worst starts in Premier League, no, the worst start in Premier League history, you might actually like them to go. It's funny. I don't think if you were ranking the least talented squads to ever be in the Premier League, I don't think Wolves would be in my bottom 10. Yet they had the worst start in Premier League history up to a certain number of games. It's truly
Interesting.
inexplicable, like how
No, you're right.
badly they've been.
No,
So
you're right.
it's just interesting. They have some good players. Strand Larson, Joao Gomez,
I agree.
Hwang Hee-chan. We were huge Hwang Hee-chan fans at one point.
We really were. He was an
So
absolute pod favorite.
yeah, that's all. I just wanted to shout them out because they've kind of turned it around a little bit. But truly, it's
I
kind of
love it.
shocking that they're
I love
that
it.
bad. That bad.
It is. I mean, they have a ton of work to do. I cannot believe Rob Edwards left Middlesbrough. Is probably going to get promoted to go back to Wolves, but played for the club and again is a club legend. So there's something about bringing a club legend back that you get a bit of a longer leash, man. The fans give you just a little bit more time, a little bit more support. So, and hey, the results. I'm with you, Jake. I mean, as bad as they've been, to win 3-0 is just like bad shit. I was like, whoa, we have life. We have a pulse. All right, Pat, what was your stoppage time, buddy?
I'm back. I have no idea what happened there, but
Yeah, that's right.
I felt like I never left. I was trying to call attention.
We say you followed Ruben Amorim's approach and just left.
I just went for a walk with my wife, dapped up some recordings, called it a day. Rubrum.
Rubrum. That's
Rubric. Rubrum cube. Yeah.
That came off
smooth. What I was going to say is there obviously like the big game. I think not big game, but a really good game to tune in is going to be the Liverpool Arsenal game tomorrow. And I mean, Arsenal have an opportunity to really establish yet again another distant lead. I would say with Man City drawing today, I'd say unexpectedly. And dropping points in recent games. Like it's really a time for Arsenal to try and take a hold of this title and put themselves in a clear position. And I don't know that they'll be able to do it. It's hard to say. Like Liverpool not been in great form, obviously, but Arsenal,
never know.
Yeah, they're playing the former champions. I feel like they'll come. I feel like Liverpool's going to come and show up with a little bit of a chip on the shoulder, something to prove. And to be honest, Arsenal's been shaky the past several games for me. They've been getting the results though, so it's like if you're a fan, an Arsenal supporter, I feel like you have to take the mindset that hey, we're getting the points, we're moving forward. You're not looking back on how they came or what kind of performances they were. I know everyone wants to be blowing them out of the water, but so I don't think you can be worried about that. But Liverpool certainly have something to feel confident about going into it because they've not been the strongest performances. So I think it's going to be a really fun game. It's going to be an important game, and let's just hope it's like the Newcastle Leeds performance today.
Yeah,
man, man. No, it's going to be a massive game. It's going to be a massive game. And for my stoppage time, I will also comment on tomorrow's game, which is I'm with Pat. I've watched nearly every minute of the Gunners this campaign. And they, first of all, the consecutive games without a clean sheet, I'm sorry, with a clean sheet was little bit of fool's gold because again, in watching all those games, like there were some chances for teams to score that they did not capitalize on, and then show up at the Stadium of Light immediately. Sunderland capitalizes on that. Last game against Bournemouth, Gabriel had a shocker of a pass that I just have never seen him make in his life. So my stoppage time is they have to come out and make a statement in the first half. Because in watching this team so much this season, even against like Aston Villa or Atletico Madrid or all these things, the games are so tense until Arsenal breaks the dam, and then just all hell breaks loose and we can just blow teams out. But there will be games where we don't have a goal from a set piece or, a goal from open play even to get that ball rolling, and teams
In
will
the
be able to
first half.
capitalize on that.
Yeah.
So they have to come out firing tomorrow. And by the way, I think that they will. I love this dude, but Dominic Szoboszlai was like, when he was asked in an interview, are Arsenal champions? And he was like, no, of course not. Nothing's decided this time of year, and they'll play the champions tomorrow. And I was like, I love you, man. Bring it. We're ready for you. You know, just because I look back to like the game we played at Anfield, and I'm still not like, 100% we're going to win the league this year or win tomorrow. We might lose. I don't know. Football is a really funny game. But of all the iterations of Arteta's team, and it might be obvious, but to be fair, we've been at this spot in the new year many times before. Regardless of form, I have a confidence in this team that I just have not felt in terms of, yes, City is there. Yes, Villa's a hot team, and it's a long, long season, but I can't wait for tomorrow and hope my guys pull it off. I really do. Well, fellas, it was good to be back.
Fuck, man. I meant to
back.
bring up Semania. We're going to have to talk about that next
Oh,
podcast.
yeah.
I
That's
think.
big.
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
We will. And honestly, come that time, some more managers could be gone. Some more high-profile transfers could have occurred. Who knows?
Hopefully.
But we hope to be, yeah, right. We hope to be back next week. I know the last time I said that there was a
2 months
elongated
for free.
absence.
See you in 2 months, guys. Peace.
We'll be back in
But
2
well
months.
done. Love y'all. Well done, fellas.
Love you guys.
All right. Bye, guys. Love you too.
See you, fellas.
Fucking Chicago politician. He probably fucking pocketed all the money, dude.
That's what I was about to say. Your politicians
Yeah,
are
bro.
fucking corrupt. You have to have one of the worst like strings of politicians in your history. Was it like Blagojevich?
Chicago's the fucking worst, bro. And like I'm not
multi-time
not the
cokeheads?
city from like from like a corrupt politician, bro. Because it was so funny. Because I remember like when I was visiting Upwards, we were just like walking through downtown, and I was like, I forget how we got on the subject, but I was like, oh yeah, like this is a big city. It's like the New York City of like the Midwest, like Gotham City. And he was like, and I just like out of pocket was like, yeah, no, like that's wild that Dark Knight was like in New York. And he's like, bro, no, it's not. It was fucking here in Chicago.